Let's go back to the start of PushPull, like the creation. I was under the impression 2 guys op shopping and then the inception of PushPull.
Just like, as you know, I'm 20 years old or 19, I think, and just super wide-eyed, you know, coming from selling Louis Vuitton and fake, they were probably fake and fake watches. And, you know, like I'm just wide-eyed as hell, ready to start a business, kind of getting sick of uni. So I pretty much did the old call every friend in my contacts, like, hey, you want to run a business? Like, and everyone's hyped up. Oh, business, you know, like all that. Yeah. Like, let's go. And not having no idea that we're about to put in so much work and how hard everything is. Yeah. So at about 20, called up a few friends. I should probably note that, you know, the guy that got me super into fashion, that wore the Dunks way before I did, his name's Pat Boyle. He works at Up There store now, if you guys ever heard of it. And he's a real funny character. Like he's the most unique guy like around. And so he was my first guy like I contacted. I'm like, you know, we've been speaking about shoes and fashion forever. He's really like, and knows everything. So I needed him for all the resource and like, you know, the knowledge. So I was like, Pat, let's do this. He's like, done. And then we called up a few of our other friends that were into it. And so there was about 5 of us at the beginning. And for anyone like wondering, you know, they're wanting to start a business with friends, it seems really exciting. I don't advise going into business with 5 people.
Ooh, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
A lot of moving cogs.
Especially when the other 5 people haven't been in business either. It just means like, it's so raw. I can't really explain it. It's kind of like, it's really unique, but everyone was like super unaware of like time, effort, money, everything. So it was like a mess. And, you know, we did our best. And in our first year of PushPull, we went to 40 different events. So this is where I think the PushPull's DNA is just different to so many brands, because we literally met people. And I see you do it, like the local footy stuff. Is like, that stuff is amazing for long-term like growth and recognition, because you've really given to the community. You've been there, you've experienced it. And there's no substitute. I don't care how great your TikTok was. Like, you either were at that football game or you were at the Camel Market at 6 a.m. when it was raining. Like, you know, like that shit's real. Yeah, we were just super passionate, and we tried a lot of different things. Like, if you scroll down on PushPull today, like you see, like we were doing like skits where we were just like screaming and carrying on and like doing really absurd stuff. And some people loved it, and some people were like, what the hell's going on? But the message, like the main thing here is we just tried a lot of stuff. And I think that's invaluable at the beginning, because if you're just starting off, how are you supposed to know what works? You know, you're going to have no idea. So try a lot of different things. But yeah, so back to PushPull, 40 events in that first year. Growing up, I never ever wanted to run my own clothing brand, because I just thought it was like, the stigma to clothing brands is there's a really low barrier to entry, meaning you can find a white, black t-shirt, get it printed tomorrow, buy an ABN the next day, and within 3 days, you have a brand. Like, you're literally a clothing brand owner. So there's so much love for vintage, so it was hard to leave that, because like that was my DNA since 13, and I knew what worked. Like, I could pick garments and sell them, and it was an amazing feeling. You feel so like an expert. You're like, oh, I knew that Patagonia would sell for $50 that I bought for $2, but it is a very, very hard model, you know, because you have to spend so much time finding garments, and you don't get paid for that. So anyway, I knew I had to shift, and COVID hit, and the boys were all wide-eyed still, and we pretty much had lost money at this point for sure, because, you know, you had to pay for all those events and all the setup. And we're like, oh, this has been really fun, but it's like probably time to split, because like they need to work, and COVID kind of just like disrupted everything. But I met Vincent, who's now the owner, at 21st. And
really?
Yeah. And Vincent would always dress amazingly. Like, whenever I'd see him, he was like, back to that, like, follow your, you know, you're weird, you're unique. Like, he would just wear like really like baggy, like 3XL t-shirts and shit, and like just different stuff. And like his sneakers were different. And I noticed it, and I just went up to him, and I'm like, you know, like, I know you're into fashion, like, and we're just chopping it up. And then I'm like, look, man, he kept an eye on what we were doing. And I was like, we want to move into like screen printing, doing our own stuff. I'm like, would you be down? And he showed so much initiative. The next day, like, we weren't even friends on Facebook and shit, or like Instagram. He sends me a screenshot. It's like probably a request, because I haven't followed him or whatever. And he's just bought like a $500 screen printer. He's like, let's go.
Oh, that's unreal.
I was like, this is the guy, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's keen as shit. But it wasn't, you know, we had to start with like, we're screen printing jeans and t-shirts, just like, we're even screen printing some of the vintage stuff because we were left over with a lot of it. Because, you know, it was a lot of inventory, like thousands of garments. So we're just printing on like Nike t-shirts, like push-pull.
Yeah.
And then you can market that as like once off, like
once
extremely
off.
rare opportunity for you to buy.
Yeah, like
an extra price.
Like Nike lawyers, don't look at this. Like just like smashing out that stuff, and then eventually we're like, let's actually do this on blank clothes because exactly if it's a Nike t-shirt, we don't have 10 Nikes. So we only have one. So we then bought like, I don't know, 20 tees, started modestly, and just built it. Just like flat out with like posting every day and, you know, just getting it out. And I think people respect it. They're like, okay, like these guys are serious about what they're doing. And then, you know, that it's kind of like that energy thing. Then like other like people within fashion and like sports stars were like, I can see what this is doing. And then it just kind of just went crazy from there.
I think of PushPull, I think of community. How did you go about like really building that community, and when did it kind of click for you that, wow, like we've created such an incredible thing?
It's a really good question. Look, it was natural because at the beginning, we didn't know anything about business. So we didn't come here with like a blueprint, like we'll build the community. We were just at so many public events that it was a real community from the get-go. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, I remember you were at that event. And like when you're having that conversation, like that's a community-based thing. Like going to the Camberwell market is meeting the community. You're seeing grandmas, you know, 5-year-old kids, like it's a whole spectacle. So we were just naturally in that. And I think maybe after a year, that's why I was happy to pay everyone out, even in knowing, you know, I didn't see $1 because I was like, there is a community built here. And it was small, but that's all I need to see.